If people want me to say like I drank way too much on shows, yeah, I know. And the frustrating part is that again, going back to that confirmation bias, when people will come up with a story about why something is, and then they see signs that match up with that story, and they go, "Oh, okay, this is the reason." But it's like there might be other reasons. There might be other things going on in someone's life that can have similar impact and similar results. And in my case, it's very much true. A lot of people have theories and stories as to what was going on that caused X, Y, or Z. And it's like, well, you're not right. I'm sorry. Like, and you don't get to know why you're not right, but there are other things going on causing those. And I tried to be more and more open in the past couple months with when people would ask how you're doing. I'm like, well, physically I'm doing okay, but like mentally, I'm really not. I'm not doing well. I was having lots of mental problems, lots of stress and anxiety, and dealing with. I don't want to call it depression because depression is a specific condition, but dealing with similar sort of symptoms that come about from depression. And again, I'll attribute it mostly to stress and anxiety. And it's like those look like a lot of other things too. And again, I'm not faulting people for coming up with their own theories, but you're sitting there dealing with like really tough shit in your life, and things can be collapsing around you, and really you don't want to go online and talk about all of them. So people are like, see, he's doing heroin. It's like, oh my god. Like, okay. But no, that I was trying to be a little bit more forward and honest about that. And people didn't. I mean, some people were okay with those responses, and some people weren't. But like one of the ways that I was certainly compensating for that stress and anxiety was drinking to excess way too often. I'm not like I'm not going to sit here and pretend I only had one. No, guys, I was drinking all the time, and in a weird way, like I'm not happy with having the conditions, but one of the nice things has been just sort of clearing that out. But a lot of the stress and anxiety that was going on had its natural fall off cycle too. And a lot of the timing kind of coincides. Not, it's not all gone either. Like there's still a bunch of shit. My life is not just this nice long bus ride. Sometimes it's very short bus ride, but it's not a nice long bus ride down a straight road. It's life is really complicated and difficult. I think everybody in this panel can identify times where things have not been so easy. And for me, a big compensation for that was drinking. And because it was nice to kind of let go a little bit and chill and just talk online, but it got way too bad. And I'm here to admit that all day, right? Like I'm sitting here going, holy shit, like I was drinking a lot on stream. Now I might not have been drinking much off stream, but that doesn't make it less dangerous and less damaging. And so yeah, man, I'm happy to be clear on that. And I don't know what kind of time frame or sort of window there will be on if I ever even reintroduce alcohol to the show. I'm not sure. I haven't decided, but it's been really nice being clear of that and not using it as a crutch to get through things. So thanks for noticing. And yeah, it's, that's a big part of it. For me is just kind of getting that shit cleared up. And, but also having a lot of the stressors in my life. I mean, one of the big stressors in my life was the end of the school year. Like getting through the end of the school year was a nightmare because our kids are in activities all over, and everybody has something going on every week during the last like month and a half of school. There's just something, even for homeschool kids. Kids had something going on all the time. And I know people think like it's really cute to assume like there's a bunch of neglect or whatever, but we made it to every activity that our kids did, all of them, all the dance recitals, all the choir concerts, all the band concerts, all the performances, everything that they did, we were there because we're extremely involved in our kids' lives. And we were really, really looking towards the light at the end of the tunnel at the end of the school year so we could just have a break for a minute and breathe. And, unfortunately, this happened right around that time, but that schedule has cleared out a lot. And that's given me a lot of or ease the pressure. It's like a pop valve. Well, it's weird because people say, well, Christians can't do X, Y, Z. It's like, dude, Christians do bad stuff all the time. Like The whole point of Christianity is that you have like this grace and redemption story. And some people say that, well, you should be trying to do X, Y, Z. It's like, well, maybe, I don't know, probably.
Yeah.
But you have this whole like grace and redemptive quality to it that's out there. I mean, Jesus hanging out with prostitutes and tax collectors, both of those, you know, that very scary for some people. But like,
sorry, that just made me giggle.
but it's like, you know, it's like if Christians just catered to the people who were on the straight and narrow path, then the church should be pointless.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. Slosher says, "Hey Nick, hope everything works out for you and your family. Before you joined Cody, it can be used as evidence. I'd like to know what the intern forced to watch years of your show thinks about Unbread."
God, I want to know. I want to know. No, it's actually, so this is kind of an interesting question as to how much of my show can be used as evidence, because with to take this into the abstract, let's take this out of my specific case, but to prove possession in Minnesota, you have to prove either actual possession or constructive possession. Actual possession, a thing is in my hand, right? Like I possess it, probably. That's pretty damn strong evidence that right now I'm possessing this phone, right? Like,
Right.
okay. Constructive possession is a little different. Constructive possession means that someone at the time is exercising exclusive dominion or control over something. Now, you don't always have to be present or in physical contact with something to have constructive possession. So the question, though, as far as like using my old shows, is what do my old shows make more or less likely to be true about facts relating to a substance that was pulled out of a house on a search warrant on a specific date? So if you want to go back and use years of my show, you want to go back to 2019 and say, here's a clip from 2019 that says something. Go, okay, what does this clip from 2019 say that is relevant to whether or not I possess something that was in my house on May 23rd, 2024? And that's the question that has to be answered. So in theory, there could be something, right? Like you could come up with some sort of way to say that might be true. Now, let's say I'm not accused of possession of some illegal substance, but let's say I'm accused of possession of this whiskey barrel. Wait, it's mirrored. This whiskey barrel. If I'm accused of that, you can go, look, back in 2019, he had that same whiskey barrel. And so that's been there for 5 years. How's this going to claim he doesn't have that? That's not his. It's not his ownership. It's like you can see it right there and there and there and there, and you can go through it. Illegal substances are a little different than that. So you have to show that what was there on the particular date for the possession, that there would be evidence making that thing's ownership more or less likely to be true. And that makes things a little bit more complicated as far as using shows from the past to try and show what was going on in the present. It doesn't make it impossible. Just things get more specific, because otherwise, yeah, you just bring in just hundreds and hundreds of hours of anybody who's been on video anywhere to try and prove any crime. And it's like, well, this is really cumbersome. Let's narrow this field down. Right. So I hope that helps explain things. And again, I can't really talk too much about specific issues with my case, but the nature of possession and constructive possession, if you really want to research it, you can probably start to figure out and piece together some of those things